Hey everybody, Z Garcia here, and welcome back to Best of the Month, where a few of us are going to tell you about our favorite new discovery over the previous month and why we liked it so much. In this video, however, I'm going to be covering 2 months. We're going to do March and do April discoveries, and that's mainly because I just didn't put one of these up in March. So you're going to see clips in here from March picks and from April picks from a few different contributors, all right? I'm going to go ahead and kick it off myself with my pick from March, which was Pandoria. This is a tile-laying game, which I really enjoyed. It's got a fantasy theme on it, a pretty down-the-middle-of-the-road fantasy theme. But I enjoyed the way the tile laying works, the idea of being adjacent to areas that score instead of being in the areas that score, kind of like Carcassonne. That takes some wrapping your head around. But I really like the resource manipulation in the game. You sort of have to track your gold, which lets you buy special cards. You have to track your wood, which lets you build buildings. You have to track, a few different things like that. You can cast spells. You can manipulate where you play the tiles. And if you play on the advanced mode, then each of the different races in the game is going to have a little special power. I really enjoyed it. It's pretty light, but it's got some clever sort of tactical, maneuvering going on. So it's a great game. Pandoria was my pick for March. And then my pick for April is Res Arcana. Just a fantastic card game in which you do so much with very few moving pieces. You're going to have a deck of cards that is 8 cards. And you have a mage, and you have a couple of other things, but you are trying to race to 10 victory points. That's it. Really like the combinations in this one. It's one of those games where you want to get the little combos going, and from a deck of 40 cards, you just have 8. And if you really want to, double down on having a strategic game, you draft those cards. That's the way to go, in my opinion. Really like it. Fantastic artwork. Really intricate design. It's a Tom Lehman game from the man who made, Race for the Galaxy. I think this might be his best game ever, honestly. It is just superb. So my pick for April, Res Arcana.
I'm ready.
I'm Ellen. We game together.
Yes, we are.
Welcome to Best of the Month, and our picks are
Quetzalcoatlunburg
and the Year of the Dragon. For me, I chose it because the experience we had with this game was amazing. This is such an intense, brutal, unforgiving game.
It was brutal.
If you want to
I got a bad start. And
he never caught up.
I never caught up.
You can't miss a beat. You have to build palaces and keep your people in there. There are events that come along. This game actually says disastrous events like famines and the Mongol invasions.
There's
you
different
need medicine.
Ways, yeah. Yep.
So you need
Plague.
to prepare for these events that are coming up. And if you miss a beat, you're going to die.
Yeah, if you don't have them, the penalties are pretty brutal.
Yeah, they're.
Sometimes you can kind of absorb them, but you can't absorb too many because it's just gonna eat you.
And I like how tight it was. Like, you have your little dragon and you have to place it on the board, around in a circle. If you don't get your place, then you're like paying money to go on that space.
And if you don't have money because you're trying to do other things, then
it's intense, y'all.
I had no money the entire game.
So if you want to be
very
super
difficult.
Stressed out, here you go.
But it's very fun.
Yeah, the best kind of stuff.
And Quetzalcoatlunburg, a push your luck game. Definitely my favorite push your luck game. I tend to like them pretty much, but I have not loved a push your luck game yet, except for
Until now, y'all.
Yes, you're pulling spell components out of a bag. They have different numbers on them. As you put those numbers down, you can go further along in your cauldron. You want to try to get as far as you can so you can get lots of points to be able to obviously win. And also money that lets you grab more components that can build off of each other and combo. So good.
The combo building is really satisfying. Good. It is really cool. That's a fun game.
Yeah. My best of the month. Quetzalcoatlunburg.
You're the dragon, y'all.
See you next time.
Bye.
Hey folks, welcome back to another Best of the Month. I've got 2 choices for you, just like I said I usually do. And so, my first choice is a game of Himalaya. Now, Himalaya, you might think, well, that's not a new game, and you're right, it isn't, but it was new to me, and I got to play it at the gathering. Here are some pictures of the copy that I got to play, and yes, it is not quite your regular copy of Himalaya. This one was rethemed to be Tatooine. Still, it uses all the same mechanisms and all that kind of stuff, but you actually have little Jawas and little sand crawlers going around to the board to the different places and picking up and delivering different kinds of droids to all of these different places. It was a really fun time, and it was a highlight of my trip to the Gathering. Now, my second title that I always have two, I just kind of break the rules that way, is this right here, Star Wars Outer Rim. Now, this has really I was apprehensive because I heard a lot of negative stuff about it before I actually got it to the table, but I have been able to get it to the table a couple of times now, and I have to say I really do enjoy this game. And I'll be having a review come out tomorrow for it, so be able to be on the lookout for that one. But I really enjoy it. It has a very solid Star Warsy feel to it. The mechanisms are not difficult. This is just a fun game to play. So take that for what it's worth. We'll see you on the flip side.
Sometimes a game gets to the table and it's just fun. It might not have deep mechanics, but the enjoyment that everyone around the table has makes it worthwhile, and it also is highly requested. And for me, that game this month that's new as well is Mars Open Tabletop Golf. It effectively takes crazy or mini golf, whichever you want to call it, and combines that with dexterity. You're not flicking a ball, you're flicking a card. Now you're trying to flick it sideways so it curves, you're trying to flick it upwards so it gets over the obstacles. You're hoping that you can flip it into the hole at the end without it going off the table and losing you points. It's super easy to play because you can explain it like you flick this like you play crazy golf and you try and get it in the hole. Everyone pretty much understands from the get-go, and it allows you to get really creative with some of the holes. I mean, there's about 54 sort of holes over 6 courses of 9 in the book. And they go from table to table or table to chair and stuff, and it just makes your imagination go crazy of how you can use all the bits and pieces to make some elaborate courses. It's just great fun. It might not be for everyone because you do have to get up, move around the table. It's not a super serious game that you're going to be playing at every game night. But it is really fun, especially fun for a lunch hour where it only takes about half an hour. So you can play 9 holes of golf and then you can have your lunch. Anyway, that is Mars Open Tabletop Golf, and I'm Oliver East, signing out.
Howdy folks, I'm Hunter, and this is Rebecca and Lady from the Family Showdown, and our pick of the month is Gong. Gong is an awesome worker placement game where your cards are workers. So you're playing a card and taking a card. You're basically bribing officials, but you're giving gifts to officials to get victory points.
What I really love about this is, though, it starts with that basic premise of take a card, give a card. There's so much depth in the game. You have to strategize what level of card, what level of bribe are you going to put down? Are you just going to give a gift? Do you want to get certain benefits? And you need to plan ahead so that you have the right cards to do the proper bribes later.
So this game reminds me a lot of one of my favorite games, Trajan, in that there's all these mini games going on the board, and you got to decide which ones you want to focus in on because you can't do them all.
It was a very addictive game, and I can't wait to play it again, which is why I think it's our pick of the month. Gugong.
My game of the month is Escape Plan from Vital Lacerda with art of Ian O'Toole. This is an awesome game from Vital Lacerda. Is by far, I would say, the least complex of game he ever designed, or at least the game that I've played that he ever designed. The idea is that you're a band of thieves and the police comes in and you guys just go different directions. But I think the caveat in this game is that it doesn't matter how well you're doing on collecting money and having all that cash if you can't escape. Because at the end of the day, when the first person gets out of the city, everybody else has to pay in to stay in the city an extra day or an extra phase of the day. You guys should try it at least once. Very easy to learn. There's a lot of rule, but very easy to learn. And that's my game of the month, Escape Plan.
Hi, I'm Nicola, also known as Sister Meeple, and this is my daughter Allison, home for the summer from college. Very glad for that. My best of the month is Root. Finally got to play this game. What I like about it is the vastly asymmetrical player powers. When you play a different faction, it's like you're playing an entirely new game. I like the cute art on the cards and the little details like calling morning birdsong. I mean, how great is that? It just adds flavor to the game. Root is definitely my best of the month.
And my best of the month is Sentient, which is this wonderful abstract game wrapped in this lovely sci-fi theme. I love the theme, I love the art, I love the dice. The dice are cool. More cool dice, please. And I really love the strategic gameplay and being able to think through stuff while not being overwhelmed with options. It's got that nice balance. And that's what makes Sentient my best of the month.
My best of the month is Lord of the Rings Journey in Middle-earth. I really like this game. This is, I love Mansions of Madness, but this is less horrific. I like Lord of the Rings. So Lord of the Rings mixed with a game that uses an app the best way I've seen an app used in any game. It is absolutely fantastic. It is so much fun. It's a campaign game, so going through the campaign can be played solo. I know! Fantastic. My favorite game of the month, easily.
Hey guys, Joe here. For my pick of the month, I had to go with Selenia by Pro Games. This is a cool and light, I guess you could say, worker placement game where you're using cards as your workers and you're putting them on various locations of the ever-rotating board. You're either putting them on cities to gather resources or putting them on different cities to deliver those goods. And what's really cool about the game is that it has this rotating board where you take a board from a section of the board from the back and you rotate it and put it on the top of the board or the front of the board, and it simulates an airship going from either the dark side of the board to the light or vice versa. It's really cool because the theme is you're on a planet where it's not rotating anymore, and so part of the planet is constantly bathed in sunlight and the other side is constantly in the darkness, and so certain resources are scarce. Either, let's say, the dark side of the planet needs certain resources that you could only find on the light side and vice versa. So it's a really cool premise, and the artwork is done by Vincent Dutrait. I mean, you had me at that. So even if I didn't know anything about the game, I would have probably purchased it anyway. But it ends up being a really awesome game that's light and it's easy to teach, but it has meaty choices. So I would check this out. So that's my pick of the month, Selenia by Pro Games.
Hi, I'm Ambi, and my best of the month was 1828, which is a new 18xx game available for print and play. It takes place in the eastern United States like 1830, but it's very different, and there's a lot of cool things that I got to try out. I only played one play, not even a full complete play because the game lasts 5 to 6 hours, but there are a lot of cool things like you can float a bunch of companies and sell down without losing value. You can merge together to make systems and buy trains, force purchase trains, even when the system already has a train and the stock market's really vertical. So there were a lot of cool things to explore that I don't have time to talk about, but I want to play again and I'm excited to explore everything about it. So that's why 1828 is my best of the month.
Hey folks, Mark here. My pick of the month is something a bit different. It's based on my favorite video game. Not really a big thematic game that I would typically go for, but it is Borderlands, Tiny Tina's epic, I would say epic, robot tea party. Now, you're trying to build out the best claptrap with all the matching parts and do so before your fellow players do, while undoing everything they are trying to do.
Hey there, I'm Jason Peacock. And my best game of the month is a no-brainer, hands down, Batman, Gotham City Chronicles. Takes one of my all-time favorite games, Conan, makes it even better, adds a versus mode that I am just loving. This has been set up for like 2 weeks and it's all my son and I are playing right now. It's got high replay value, it's got very interesting and tactical decision making, and most of all, it is fun. That's Batman Gotham City Chronicles. If you want to get your hands on this Kickstarter only game, I believe there is a second season and a relaunching of the first on June 4th. Till next month, I'm Jason Peacock.
My best of the month is Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth. I'm a huge fan of Mansions of Madness, and this is like Mansions of Madness set in the Lord of the Rings universe with a campaign instead of just one-shot games. Campaigns are sometimes hard for me to get to the table, but I've played this a ton solo. I played it a couple times here in the studio as well, and after playing it in the studio, I immediately went out and bought my own copy because I just love the Lord of the Rings IP so much. It's cool running around the countryside, battling orcs, trying to figure out how to minimize the threat, and I just really enjoy the fact that you're upgrading your character over this long story, and whether you win or lose, the story continues as you go along. So my best of the month is definitely Journeys in Middle-earth.
And that's going to be it for us. Thanks everybody for checking out the video. We'll be back with our regularly scheduled 1 month at a time on the next one with our picks for the best of May, of course. And definitely come back and join us if you want to see what we've been playing, what we've been enjoying. Tell us in the comments below as well some of your recent picks. What has been, lighting up your gaming table? We're always curious to find out what you've been up to. So that's it for me. Again, I'm Z Garcia. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.